Every now and then a game comes out that is too hot to handle, one that causes so much controversy that online retailers have to back away from the project and pray to the gods known as Jack and Zuck that the soccer mom plague will soon end and the endless nagging from social media outlets and bloggers will suffice. One game once placed on the sacrificial altar of please shut the fuck up was 2015's edgy masterpiece, Hatred. But much like the story of Abraham and Isaac, the social media mobs came down in the form of a blue bird and told them to unbind the child, for Steam had proven its devotion to them. It seemed that overnight the attitude towards Hatred had changed and it could flourish on the Steam store once more. Unfortunately, for the game I'm going to be talking about today, no divine intervention happened. Devotion. A game developed by Red Candle Games was released on Steam in 2019. It was critically acclaimed and had a 90% audience rating. Just looking at it, it is mind-boggling that a game that looks this good could come from such a small studio. After a few months of success, Devotion was unceremoniously pulled off the online retailer, causing massive amounts of backlash. In hopes of saving the game and avoiding censorship, Red Candle struck a quick deal with Good Old Games, hoping that they would be safe from persecution in their DRM-free hands. But Dumb Old Games backed out in fear of the trouble that Devotion would bring. For a year, Devotion was in digital limbo, unavailable to the law-abiding public, and Red Candle Games had seemed to disappear with it. Then, on March 15th, 2021, Red Candle Games opened up their own store to distribute Devotion, DRM-free. Because of all the controversy and having heard their struggle, I had to check this game out. After mining for spare change in my sofa, and my neighbor's sofa, and my neighbor's wife's wallet, and her girlfriend's purse, I went out and bought the game, wondering, did I just buy another Hatred? Another pile of shit that just got big off of controversy and controversy alone? I booted up the game with sweaty palms, hoping that this wasn't the case, and thankfully, it wasn't. Unfortunately, I can't share a whole lot about the basic plot. What I will say is that because it's developed by Taiwanese devs, it takes place in Taiwan. I find it funny that I've explored thousands of places in gaming, Hyrule, Skyrim, Hell, and the Mushroom Kingdom, but rarely have I played a game that takes place outside of America, Europe, or Japan. Can't blame me, I don't got much culture outside of what I got in my moonshine jug. But it was still cool. The story tells a tale of a family in turmoil. While it is billed as a horror game, and it definitely has a lot of scary parts in it, I found it more to be tragic than anything. As a fan of older horror like Edgar Allan Poe or some ghost novels like Wuthering Heights, I liked this plot. Watching this loving family descend into pride and madness evokes so many emotions out of me that it's hard to articulate without going into long monologues of detail. The characters are amazing, super three-dimensional personalities with their own strengths and weaknesses. I walked away pondering the many intricacies of each person involved, and the more I thought about it, the more I loved it. This is the type of game that you can play and understand everyone. You can play it multiple times and see a different angle to the horror that transpired. You might be saying to yourself, well, that's cool and everything, Red, but what about the gameplay? While the game is bare bones and flirts with the dreaded genre of walking sim, I'd say it has enough interactivity to it that it kept me engaged. The basic gameplay sort of reminded me of an old point-and-click adventure game, solving puzzles to progress the story. The puzzles were really clever and just like the rest of the game, pretty surreal. There were a few parts that also changed the gameplay a bit. Most of it doesn't have a failure state unless the section calls for it, which I thought was pretty cool. Without spoiling anything, this game had a real emotional core to it. While a lot of press did give it good scores, I'm surprised that it didn't get the constant accolades that most of these games get. I'm reminded of Gone Home, a game that had some characters and told a love story with only a house. This game does something similar, but with a much more emotional punch and an ending that will leave you somber and speechless. If you think you could handle the thin mechanics and enjoy stories told in an unconventional way, I strongly recommend Devotion. I think when it comes to these types of games, it's the best of the best. I don't think that I'll play another game quite like it. I also think that if you enjoy the type of psychological horror seen in Silent Hill, or most notably PT, you'll love this game. It's very clearly inspired by PT, but does so much with the concept that it forges its own identity. During my playthrough, I kept my eyes peeled, trying to see the moment that caused so much panic, so much hysteria, so much unrest. This game had to be banned. All I saw was a piece of art that was so high quality that in my eyes, it is criminal that it's not on the stores. The truth is, this game wasn't taken down because of the suburban mob. It wasn't plagued by the dreaded moral police of the internet. Instead, it was taken down because hidden deep in its Mandarin text, a curse was bestowed on the leader of a nation. Somewhere in the game it read, Xi Jinping, Winnie the Pooh, moron. This was enough to get the game banned from 2 sites, all because of a bunch of babies brainwashed and loyal to the CCP. I guess that she has the physique of Pooh Bear and the skin of a paper crane, because he just couldn't handle the hot banter coming from a few Taiwanese devs. Steam is okay with over-the-top violence, sex, and drug use. They have hatred and Fuda fixed dicks dine and dash, hot and ready for you at the press of a sexy button, but not devotion, because they dared to accidentally leave a placeholder up criticizing a national leader. I'm sorry, but if you don't want to be called Winnie the Pooh, lay off the honey for a bit. Do some jumping jacks, take a walk. Next time you go to Tiananmen Square, leave the tank at home. The steps and fresh air will do you good. How is a nation supposed to be strong when its leader in the predominant party pisses its pants at an indie horror game? I think what happened to Red Candle Games is incredibly upsetting, and I have purposely left out all spoilers. I strongly urge you to go and buy this game on their site. You won't regret it. The game has emotional weight and artistry that will resonate with people far after the dust has settled and the controversy ended. I've left the link in the description so you can go check it out. This is Red, signing out.
Taiwan #1!